We are at the Brooklyn Museum in the Rise of Sneaker Culture exhibition, which just opened, and it's running here through October 4th. The exhibition really takes a look at this thing called sneaker culture, starting in probably the mid-19th century and going through today. So there's a lot of really interesting historical material as well as really cool contemporary things. The curator of the exhibition was really interested in how sneakers have become this expression of masculine identity in the male wardrobe. So the first thing is that the show is about 98% men's sneakers, and that's actually an interesting part of the story because there's been sort of a fraught relationship between women and sneaker culture, even though the shoe is unisex. So that's the first thing that's important to realize. The next thing is that she brings it back to the 19th century, and there's some interesting threads that run through the idea of status. The sneaker as a status symbol has been kind of consistent throughout its history, although with some kind of moments up or down. When the sneaker first emerged in the late 19th, early 20th century, they were very, very expensive. So you had to be pretty wealthy in order to have sneakers and have the leisure time to do the kinds of activities, tennis, croquet, that kind of thing, in order, that you would need sneakers for. And of course, today there are still plenty of very high status, expensive sneakers. But the exhibition really goes through this trajectory of what sneakers have meant in different periods, who wore them and why, what they've symbolized, the whole idea of how they went from being primarily a shoe about athletic performance to a shoe that has become a fashion statement. We talk about endorsements, both made by athletes as well as musicians and other kinds of artists, and just sort of the popularity and the meaning behind sneakers. It's interesting that we did have the exhibition Killer Heels last fall, which explored sort of the cultural backdrop of that particular form of fashion, which is stereotypically very much associated with women's wear. And then this exhibition, which, as I said, looks at a form of footwear that's very identified with masculine identity and men's wardrobes. But there's kind of a commonality in terms of obsession and desire for these objects. Men who are obsessed with sneakers and collect sneakers, I think, are actually more obsessed over their sneakers than women who love high heels. Sneakers, they're born of function. The rubber sole was for athletic performance, but they became a staple of fashion, and that's still where they remain. So they have this kind of, I'm willing to say, a real dual function. There are many people that wear sneakers that never set foot on an athletic court of any kind, and there are many people that never wear sneakers out, but I think they function in both ways.